was searching for cobalt, the miracle ingredient of the digital age. The metal's capacity to store energy, stabilize conductors, has made possible the proliferation of rechargeable batteries, smartphones, laptops. More crucially, in the face of catastrophic climate change, cobalt offers the hope of a clean energy future. But cobalt has a much darker side. The relentless drive to feed the cobalt needs of Silicon Valley has led to appalling levels of degradation, child abuse, and environmental damage in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the world's #1 cobalt producer. The situation is so dire that human rights campaigners have denounced cobalt as the blood metal of the 21st century. Tesla, Google, Apple would love to cut their ties with the abuses in the Congo. But cobalt is an extremely elusive metal. And so it's not surprising that in 2020, billionaires Jeff Bezos, Michael Bloomberg, and Bill Gates formed a mining company to seek out new sources of cobalt in northern Canada. They named their company Cobalt Metals with a K, and cobalt is derived from Cobalus, a shapeshifter in Greek mythology who mocked the work of humans. In the Middle Ages, the Cobalus became the Cobalt, the demon living in the mines of Germany. And the men who made their way into the perpetual darkness of the metal mines knew the demons were close, from the burning sensation on their fingers as they touched the cobalt-laced rock. And they knew the kobolds were watching them from the telltale sounds of the banging and the footsteps echoing through the caverns. To anyone who has stood in the depths of an underground mine, such superstitions are perfectly understandable. As miners dig deeper, the pressure from millions of tons of earth above them increases. This pressure causes the weight around the underground openings to shift, eliciting a terrible groaning. Sometimes there's a loud banging, like 2 boxcars hitting each other in a freight yard. Other times the pressure is more subtle, like the sharp snap of a twig being stepped on, which evokes the deeply unsettling feeling of being stalked in the darkness. For miners in Germany, the cobalt held a particular menace. It was called the Black Devil, because when miners burnt rock where cobalt was present, the airborne dust and vapors had the potential to kill or seriously incapacitate them. Little wonder they feared the demon metal. It's doubtful that the billionaire class has reflected much on the dark power of the cobalt. They are looking to strike it rich in the next great mineral rush, which is taking place within a much broader geopolitical struggle to control the market in strategic metals. The cobalt rush has drawn investors back to a little town in northern Ontario, a place called Cobalt. There's a powerful synchronicity in this renewed interest in Cobalt, Ontario. This is not just some old mining town looking for one more chance to flourish. The events that took place here more than a century ago set Canada on its path to becoming the world's preeminent resource extraction superpower. 3/4 of the world's mining companies are registered now in Canada. The maple leaf flies over international zones of resource exploitation across the global south. And the power of this global empire was built with a particular toolbox of skills that had been developed in cobalt: financial, regulatory, and industrial. Little wonder that Canada's powerful mining industry refers to cobalt as the, quote, cradle of Canadian mining. All across northern Canada, there are mining communities that were born out of that cradle. And like cobalt, they thrive or die depending on the wealth beneath their streets and the price of metals on the international markets. In Canada, it's taken as a given that such boom-bust disparity is part of the social contract of northern existence. It seems self-evident that the immense wealth of the northern hinterland exists to benefit the shareholders of distant multinational corporations. Such a worldview is only possible because we've allowed ourselves to accept the winner's version of what happened at Cobalt. But Cobalt was a battleground for multiple visions of how the wealth of the earth could be used and who should be its beneficiaries. Issues of social justice that dominate the discourse today: resource exploitation versus environmental concerns and indigenous rights, multicultural accommodation versus xenophobic suspicion, the power of the 1% in the face of class resistance. These were all battled out in the shabby streets of Cobalt. And so to make sense of these struggles that are affecting us today, we need to return to Cobalt, the town that let loose the demons of the earth.